Earth. Fire. Air. Water.
Hello guys, this is not the usual video that I would normally do. Let's move my mic a bit closer to my mouth. Of course, if you've been to my channel before, you know that I do Skyrim shit. I thought I would do something very different. So, as you can see on the screen, I have been watching, I've actually finished both the Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra. Now, a bit of backstory and why I'm doing this. Mandalorian recently finished like a month ago or so, and I ran out of things to watch while I wasn't working or going to the gym. And I saw the last Avatar in Netflix, and I was like, right, yeah, I haven't seen, like, I remember seeing it as a kid. Now, as a kid, I meant like 14 years of age. It's kind of like a review. So I remember I have one vivid memory of an episode that this is the only episode that I knew in the entire series of everything. And it was where Aang, Sokka, and Katara go to, I think it's like the Northern Water Tribe, and he falls in love with that ice princess, and eventually she, spoilers, has to sacrifice herself to become the new moon spirit. I remember that one very vividly. Like, that's the one I can remember. I remember Sokka falling in love and having to watch the girl he loved die. And it was kind of sad back then, you know. I would have been 14 or 15 years old. I am now 26, going on 27 at the end of the year. Long time ago, man. Long fucking time ago. So I had, like, it was familiar to me, and it looked like anime. Now, I'm not a fan of anime at all. I fucking despise it. It's just weird as fuck. It's Japanese shit. This wasn't made by the Japanese. This was made by Americans. And essentially Chinese culture. There's some Japanese influence in there, like you see katanas or samurai armor. But it's American. Created by Americans. It's got some similar, you know, like anime sort of style things to it. Like the screen goes kind of stretched and their eyes, you know, when they're angry, their eyes will just implode and there'll be like a little black dot to indicate there's a pupil. But it has similar things to anime, of course. It is cartoons. Yeah, but it's made by Americans. Anyway, I watched through that, I think, in the space of like 2 weeks. I mean, normally I'll watch something, and when I get bored of it, I'll go and do something else. I just pause it and fuck off. Sorry, it's no longer professional, I've just swore. And I could sit here for like probably an hour and a half just watching episode after episode before eventually I had to go. It was crazy. Like, I'm not a cartoon guy. I'm an adult, for fuck's sakes. Doesn't really mean much in this day and age. Adults are fuckwits. Adults can like anything, really. I never really saw myself getting into cartoons or anime or anything, or a mix in between. And the only reason I come to the Last Airbender is because I was familiar with it as a child or a teenager. I thought, why not? Let's catch up. It's there. I might as well watch it. Something that I know about. So I watched it, and I thought, holy fuck, that was, you know, some crazy storytelling. Anyway, oof, what a series it was. Dead set. It was a really good series. I really liked it. And it's based on a 12-year-old airbender that ran away once his masters told him he was going to move him to a different air temple because he's getting distracted. And they told him it was Avatar, and they didn't like his polite, nice training. And they're going to move him away so he could train in a different temple away from his father figure. And he got upset and ran away. During his runaway, he ended up getting trapped in a storm and ended up hitting the water. And he went into his Avatar state, which is like a spiritual thing where they almost die. Their past lives kind of intervene, and they built like a big air bubble, and they froze it, and he stayed in the water for 100 years. Now, I don't understand why you do that. As an avatar, once your physical body dies, the spirit goes to another. So, you know, what they did was essentially stupid. They saved the kid's life when they should have just let him die, so another avatar could have been born in the water tribes, and that Fire Lord that was, you know, that killed the Avatar. Sorry, I missed that bit. So anyway, he got trapped, and the Fire Lord knew that the next Avatar was going to be an Airbender, so he pretty much sacked the Airbender nations. He killed them all. He put the Airbenders to extinction. Didn't spare a single one. So anyway, the Avatar state saved him. His little spiritual connection, which, like I said, I don't get. You know, you'd rather let him die so another one can be born and trained within the time. Because 100 years without an Avatar is a long time, and I don't really see the Avatar spirits going here. We should let this guy live so we can keep him for 100 years. It's a bit silly, but whatever. That's just rational thinking. Anyway, it was a good story. He eventually gets busted out of a bubble 100 years later by the girl at the left of the picture. The guy in the middle ends up hunting him for like a majority of the seasons. And I think, yeah, well, her brother isn't really that important. He's important. He's a really good. It's gonna sound kind of, if he was a real actor, you'd feel kind of insulted. But more of like a side piece who's very funny. And he's got some serious episodes based on his character development. But he's more of like a laughing sort of have a laugh with, do some funny shit, stupid kind of guy. And eventually they go through all the seasons. His role is to stop the 100-Year War, which the Fire Nation, which is the Fire dudes trying to like conquer the world after 100 years. And his role is to defeat the Fire Lord and bring peace back to the world against the Four Nations. The Four Nations are, like I said, the Waterbenders, the Water Nation, the Air Nation, which all been wiped out. Earth Nation, which is Earthbenders, that shoot rocks around and shit. And of course the Fire Nation, who's the aggressive factor in this. Anyway, eventually he does that, and he falls in. Over the time he falls, he has feelings for Katara, falls in love with her. That was pretty good. I wish they would have added more. They added quite a bit more with his story involved in this episode right here, The Legend of Korra. Indicates that he has 3 children. His first oldest son was born without airbending, but later on in the series, of course, spoilers, like I said before, he eventually becomes an airbender. If you don't know how that happens, I guess watch it, because he can't just get powers randomly. He has a daughter. Yeah, he has a daughter, and she's a waterbender just like Katara, her mother. And eventually, and she's actually gay herself. She's actually a lesbian, but she only reveals that in the comic books after the series, because Nickelodeon didn't even want a female hero. They wanted a male hero. And back then there would be no space for any sort of homosexuality involving a gay main character, or even a gay character for that matter. It was pretty 2014. It was still, I think it was even before that, 2012. It was pretty rough when it comes to being like homophobe and fucking a lot of homophobes, anti-homosexuality and all that sort of shit. And funny enough, the main character of this eventually gets out of this weird love triangle, and her and her best friend end up dating this guy, and eventually at the very end of it, her and her best friend fall in love, and they end up like, this is one of the bits that pissed me off. So The Legend of Korra, I actually really liked it. I heard so many stories. Now I didn't actually know The Legend of Korra existed until I was watching the last Avatar, and I saw it in the thing of Legend of Zorro, because all these cartoon recommendations come up on Netflix. I was like, what the fuck? But I saw Avatar and I was like, oh, there's more. Never heard of this shit. So I decided, to ask a few people that I play games with, and they're, it's fucking shit, man, it's not funny, and this. And I was like, yeah, it kind of sunk into my head, and then I kind of watched it as soon as the last episode finished, which wasn't a smart idea, because I just jumped 70 years, and Katara was a very young, beautiful waterbender, like she is now, and then she fucking metamorphed into Gran, who's one of the characters, who's Katara's grandmother. So this series takes 70 years on the last airbender. Anyway, so at the very end of the 4 seasons, Korra goes through some bad stuff, and her best friend continues to contact her for 3 years. Now, they haven't seen each other for 3 years. There's 3 of them. There's Mako, his brother, I forgot his name, and I forgot her name. Not a shit. And the girl that was dating Mako, and so they both dated Mako. It's just a stupid triangle. Anyway, so she got the shit beaten out of Korra. She almost died, and she got crippled from it. She was in a very bad state, and she physically recovered, but she didn't mentally recover. And she kept sending messages to her friend Osami. That's it, Osami. And over the time of their 3-year gap, they matured some feelings for each other. They missed each other too much, and like people say the lesbian stuff come out of nowhere. You can actually kind of see when they talk to each other, they kind of blush at each other every now and then. And their cheeks will like go red, and you don't blush. I'm not gonna blush if a dude calls me attractive. I'm gonna like, fuck audio. Cheers, mate. I'm not gonna blush. You only blush if you if you like that person saying that. And of course, the hints were there every now and then. To me, it kind of came out of nowhere because I wasn't paying attention at all. Because I'm just a straight guy who doesn't see that shit. But I can see out of the space of 3 years of missing your absolute best friend, someone that you would, because she said to Korra that she was willing to move to her water tribe to help her, and of course Korra said no. 3 years not seeing your very best friend could drive you nuts. And contacting them via letter, it makes you miss them even more. Even though there's that small gap, it's like you're getting letters from, it makes you miss them even more. And I can see these girls kind of not confusing their feelings, but finding feelings that they had not yet found. Realizing that they were a bit more important to each other than they initially were when they were actually fighting and hanging out. And eventually, at the very end of this episode, the very last season, they're about to walk into a portal. They're about to go on vacation. This is a bit that pisses me off. And they hold hands, look all dreamy-eyed to each other. Then the series ends. Then it goes in the comic books, and you find that they actually go in there. They kiss. They reveal to she goes to her father, tells her father. They're all happy for him, but they don't tell anybody because it could make them look bad. And she kind of storms off being Korra, because she's a rough-headed, rough, tough girl. She doesn't like being told what to do. Eventually she tells her friends. When Asami almost dies, or she kind of kisses Asami, and then they all find out, and the poor Mako that dated them both in a really awkward spot now. There's both the girls he could jump between have just basically hooked up with each other, and it's like, oh fuck, I'm out of answers here. And man, that's the bit that pissed me off, is that they went into the lesbian romance. They're bisexual. They went into this lesbian love after the series, because Nickelodeon would not dare put any sort of gay shit, my bad, not meant to be like rude or anything, I'm an Australian, I kind of cut shit down, gay stuff on kids TV. Now I could imagine this being a crazy amount of good press for gay people, especially for young girls that might be going to school, they're 17, they're gay, they haven't told their friends yet, and they maybe have a crush on their friend that also might have a crush on them. Even sometimes guys, maybe guys, I don't know. Dudes are pretty straightforward. They're gay, pretty much everyone knows they're gay, most of the time. But this could have helped so many young people, man, especially a hero that's eventually broken free. She's had feelings for a friend of hers, that's kept in contact and always stayed by her side, and then she realized she likes her more. And same with the other friend, man, she missed her a lot and she really wanted to see her, and over the time she realized that her feelings are a bit more complex towards, and not just friendship, but actual romance. And yeah, that is what kind of pissed me off about The Legend of Korra, the very end of it. I wish they would have continued at least 5 or 6 more seasons. I would have loved that. No, not 5 or 6 more seasons, at least 5 or 6 more episodes explaining this, because there's quite a bit of combat on afterwards. They fight they fight the crime lords of Republic City. So I really wish they would have went into it, because I've tried to find all the live readings on YouTube of the actual voice actors reading the comics, and it's kind of cool. It kind of fills the space, but I'm torn. I'm actually torn. Here I am torn by a cartoon of a make-believe world. I feel the story isn't complete, and I feel that they've missed out on a massive opportunity to kind of airlight her happy ending. We didn't get a happy ending with Aang until, of course, we found out, in Korra, that he had 3 kids, married Katora, but he died at the age of 63 because he was in a bubble for 100 years, and it kind of drained his life force. It's like having your phone fully charged and you don't touch it for 6 days, which is impossible in this day and age. And you come back and it's got half battery even though you haven't touched it. So he kind of withered away in that bubble for 100 years. So it kind of took something from him. But I'd really like to see a good ending to Katora. I keep saying Katora. Korra. It's fucking Katana's name, and I'm getting them mixed. I'd really love to see a good ending to it. I really would. It would make a lot of sense and clear up a lot of things. And I don't want to see it in another Avatar series, because I don't want to hear about the good ending when they're dead. I'd rather know about it then and there. I would love to see another Legend of Korra, or another series based on Korra as an older person. I'm not talking about 50 or 60. I'm talking about mid. I think they're 21 by the time the series ends, but maybe 5 or 6 more years, because you're an Avatar. Some shit's gonna happen sooner or later. All her stuff happened within her being of 17 to 21. It's not gonna magically just stop. Something shit's going to come across the corner, and she's going to deal with it then. And I would really love to see that series based on her being married to Asami, and Mako, the poor prick in the middle, who got fucked up by his own love triangle, ends up falling in love with another cop, another detective, who, you know, you end up teaming up with and end up growing feelings for. But yeah, so I'd really like to see another Korra series. I don't want to see another one where it's an earthbender, blah blah. I'd like to really see a more grounded Korra series explaining, you know, I don't know, man. They're just wishes and dreams and shit, but I'm a bit pissed and torn, man, because I'm trying to find all the source material. I'm trying to find out the Netflix series, and the Netflix series original creators have walked away, and it's never really a good thing if the original creator walks away. Like, look at Star Wars, for example. Episode 7, 8, and 9. Well, fucking shit. That's just honest to God. I'm not going to talk about that at all. I'm not going to get into a rant about that. But I've heard the Netflix series is going to try and make them a bit more older. Like, they're doing Avatar: The Last Airbender, but in, well, real. They're doing it in live action. But the characters are going to be a bit more older, so they can kind of go with like a sort of romance thing. Because you can't have a 12-year-old blowing kisses or kissing and hugging another 12-year-old, because that shit's just that's pretty much that twerking thing that ended up on Netflix, and no one's going to watch it if it's associated with any reflection of pedophilia, or any sort of like kids under the age of fucking 16 or 15 at least being attracted to each other. So anyway, they're going to try and make that a bit more older so they can kind of lean on the sort of sexual flirting side of it, I guess. You know, a bit more love into it. And who knows how that's going to end up, because the original guys have walked away. But it could be good, because it's live action, so it can be a bit more, who knows. You just can't throw it away because the original dudes have walked from it. You've got to see what it is before you judge it. Star Wars eventually came back with The Mandalorian, and they're releasing a lot more content. But I'd really like to see a story on Korra. It'd be like another story of her being a bit older, maybe in her early 30s or late 20s, married to Asami, and something bad happens, something shit happens maybe. Who knows? Maybe that dark avatar that she destroyed might find a way back or whatever. Maybe, because she destroyed the dark avatar and they synced with each other. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure they finished it though, because I'm pretty sure you need to touch the two portals to sync your soul with that with the person that's inside of them. Anyway, I'd love to see a continuing story of Korra. That is my design wish, to see them a bit older and successful and happier, I guess, while still fighting crime or dark evil things or whatever. Anyway, it's gone on for a little bit too long. Cheers for watching, guys. If you've made it this far, like, dislike, leave a comment, do what you want, or fucking subscribe. Cheers, guys. Have a good one.